It's time for big, beautiful billions! Oh yes! Hello, my fellow sorcerers, and welcome to the perfect ultra endgame form of our build of the season. And honestly, perhaps not even sorcerer's build of the season, but just the build of the season. This is the one thing going toe-to-toe with Paladin, and you can see why. The damage speaks for itself. It is just utterly monstrous, both for clearing trash and for deleting bosses. You literally cannot die because you can't get one shot, because you have an absurd amount of effective health, and you also heal faster than any damage can be applied to you, thanks to a certain ridiculous combination we will talk about. Oh, and you know how teleport enchant got nerfed and we thought we were going to really struggle with mobility and may not even be the fastest, most speed farmy class anymore? My teleport has a default just over 1 second cooldown. In combat, it doesn't have a cooldown. This is absolutely delicious and actually feels more fun than evade teleporting because you're just hammering actual real teleport, which is just a little bit more flexible, and oh, do you absolutely blitz your way through any given thing you do. I am currently at the gear level where I'm speed farming pit 80s, and this has the potential to push all the way to at least pit 110, pit 115, depending of course on Sanctification rolls, which can be absolutely absurd. And let's be honest, all the pit records this season are going to be people rolling double Shaco bonuses, double Starless Skies bonuses, and so on and so forth. But hey, it is a fun system. In any case, there's really not much more we could ask for here. Power, survivability, speed, and fun. It is the quartet of carnage, and it is at Sorcerer's command. And because it is Crackling Energy, it feeds beautifully, perfectly into our new unique, not caring at all about the downside of not having defensives, because we don't want them anyway, because we just want full lightning skills on the bar to power esadoras, which means we get to nicely enjoy a huge damage bump and all of our defensive enchantments for free. And hey, it certainly doesn't hurt that this is still a very fresh, new way to play Sorcerer, and Crackling Energy is something that I have wanted to work and tried to make work essentially since season 2, and now it's finally doing this. I could not be happier. Last season it took a backseat to Ball Lightning, but this season no more. This season it reigns supreme, and it does so spectacularly. So let's get into this and go over pure, unadulterated, crackling fun. The ever endlessly amusing skill tree for Crackling Energy is up first, and I say it's amusing because you just spend so many points in filling out every single shock skill as you go, and it just looks kinda silly. Like, if you showed this to someone 4 seasons ago, they'd be like, this person has no idea what they're doing. In any case, we want just, a rank in anything here to get to our cause, and by anything I mean either of the shock skills. Then we get to our cause where you want to fill out 5/5 into charged bolts, and then get enhanced and then destructive charged bolts. Whack a single point in chain lightning too. Our actual bars will involve charged bolts and chain lightning just for their ranks to power up esadora, but you'll never be pressing them. Then we move over to our defensives where we put 5/5 into teleport. I still can't get over that 1.35 second cooldown, and then move it into enhanced and shimmering. We then max out our glass cannons, so we get that free, lovely multiplicative damage increase before heading over and putting 1 point in Frost Nova, then into enhanced, and finally mystical. We'll be constantly throwing out Frost Novas because we have the enchantment for free thanks to our new unique, so we can keep applying this 15% multiplicative more damage to every enemy. Then we go over to familiar and get enhanced and then invoked, so unstable currents will summon shock familiars and give us this 10% multiplicative damage increase. That'll just be happening constantly and passively thanks to the permanent unstable currents uptime. Then we 5 out of 5 max lightning spear and take it to just enhanced, and then obviously that will be on our bars. We'll be pressing it a lot. This then forms the core of our first enchant, along with teleport being the second. The teleport enchant is just for more mobility, and the lightning spear enchant is just so you have an easier time keeping constant swarms of lightning spears out, so we keep every enemy vulnerable. However, if you are finding yourself still a bit squishy, or if you end up taking a bit damage, or if your gear's not quite there yet, you can swap the lightning spear enchant out for the charged bolt enchant, so we keep throwing out destructive charged bolts, and as we are stunning people a lot, this is quite good. Though if you do go the charged bolts route, consider putting a single point in invoked lightning spear. You can take it out of any of the given shock skills, just lose a rank, and this combination will give you a lot of survivability and control of the battlefield. But pure min-max wise, we want to shove lightning spear in there. Then we get 3 out of 3 in mana shield, just to have that constant 30% damage reduction, which is very tasty. We're ignoring nerfed protection because we have much better barrier synergy, which we'll go over, and it saves us a load of points to put into shock skills. Grab 3 out of 3 inner flames for 18% multiplicative more damage. Max out your ball lightning. This is the core spammy skill and the engine of the build because it will summon all your crackling energy from Wizard's Ball Lightning. We then want to get all the mana we can from the crackling energy, so we literally never run out, so we can just spam cast it rapidly, so we can keep shooting off esadoras as fast as possible, and to that end we have static discharge, just to again, more crackling energy, more esadoras rattling off. It really helps in clumped groups of enemies, which sometimes you have to wait, a couple seconds to get through, and this is nice. So we move on to ultimates, we grab our extra free cooldown reduction, we grab our elemental synergies. It's a full shock skill layout, so this really is a lot of damage for us, and then we get 1 permafrost just so we can get the 12% multiplicative more icy touch damage. Moving down to here, we'll grab coursing currents just because it's slightly more useful than conduction, then through electrocution to max out convulsions to auto pick up crackling energy as well as a huge damage increase, but that auto pickup is everything. 5 out of 5 max into your stable currents. We need ranks of those shock skills and reduce that cooldown, though it's really not necessary at this point. And then prime unstable currents so we can fire out our ball lightnings 25% faster. Then our key passive, as you might imagine, remains overflowing energy, and this is what, coupled with our ridiculously low raw teleport cooldown, essentially gives it no cooldown in combat with how much our crackling is pulsing. And that then is your perfected skill tree. Let's talk gear then, and by gear I mean aspects and uniques to begin with. Aspects wise, on your offhand, which you will have because of course we're using orsivane, you will want charged flash. This gives us a nice big crackling energy damage increase, and hey, even the charged bolts that come out from unstable currents doing a little wave is quite fun, even if it's just more visual fun than anything because the damage isn't exactly crazy. But look, the crackling energy 60% multiplicative increase is where it's at. That is huge for one aspect. After that then, you want to get Shredding Blades on your gloves. It's our next highest damage increase, so that's why we choose it. And then lastly, on your boots, which you still want to be a normal legendary boots, you get a Bounding Conduit. Lower that teleport cooldown, but more importantly, this permanent 2 additional hit enemies when your crackling energy doth crackle. If you don't have a Starless Sky, so you'll be using a normal ring, you want to have Conceited on it, and if you don't have Harlequin Crest, so you'll be using a normal helmet, you want Concentration on it. Uniques-wise then, we of course want Orsivane, our new one, a huge damage increase, giving us 120% multiplicative. The ranks to core skills is incredibly synergistic, and all around this thing is just magnificent, both in power and playstyle that it encourages. We then, of course, want, the thing that enables the build in Esadora's overflowing cameo, and sadly I still still don't have a great roll on it, but I'm trying my best here. Then, for our second ring slot, you want Galvanic Azurite for another nice big damage increase, and the obvious Crackling Energy synergy. The cooldown reduction obviously lovely, as is the lightning damage. You want to have Raiment of the Infinite. The ranks to Glass Cannon is really, really tasty. The damage reduction and the pull and clumping is also really good, and it's altogether just a great item in Season 11. If you were absolute min-maxing pure damage, like pushing Pit as hard as possible, then a Shroud of False Death is going to do a little bit more for you, but in general gameplay, this is where it's at, and you will enjoy the speed farm it really enables. Then we want Temerity, as this is our source of permanent, infinite, automatic barrier. We get a barrier for 100% of our life, which is already fairly tasty, and then this just keeps happening. You combine this with a life on hit affix, like the one that I got sanctified onto here, and you just never die. As I fire some ball lightnings, immediately we're up to our full barriered health, and that will just never go away thanks to this. There isn't a better use of the leg slot. This is your ticket to immortality, and it's so, so good. Then, for your mythic uniques, you want Ring of Starless Skies. The ranks to core skills, obviously fantastic, and the damage it provides ain't too shabby either, let's be honest here. But then, the main mythic unique you want, if you could only have one, would be Harlequin Quest. The +4 ranks to all skills, again, ridiculous synergy with esadoras, not to mention, you know, the damage reduction, the cooldown reduction, the health, the armor. It's just an all-round fantastic item. I don't need to sell you on, you know, Shaco. In any case, that's where it's at then for them. When it comes to affixes that we are after, on your offhand, you want cooldown reduction, critical strike chance, maximum life, and intelligence. On your boots, you want mana per second, ranks to ball lightning, maximum life, and intelligence. On your gloves, you want ranks to core skills, you want cooldown reduction, you want intelligence, and then you want either critical strike chance or life on hit, if this is the only place you can get life on hit. When it comes to affixes, no matter how you get it, you want one life on hit roll to synergize fully with Temerity in harder content. As I said, I luckily got one here from the Sanctification. If I didn't, I would re-roll this intelligence until it was life on hit on these gloves. Everything else, of course, it's unique, so it is what it is. That said, if you have a normal ring, you want cooldown reduction, critical strike chance. That life on hit roll can be here as well, which is really good. And then health, intelligence, critical strike damage is all well and good too. On a helmet, you want mana per second, life, intelligence, cooldown reduction, and ranks to lightning spear. 4 of them will do, with maximum life being the worst. So, for your gems and your runes, you want critical strike damage in your weapons, you want all resist elements in your jewelry, as that's likely going to give you the most toughness, though if your armor is really flagging, you can consider that. You want intelligence in your armor, and then rune-wise, you want cast 5 skills, then become exhausted for gain +1 to all skills, as this just translates to +3, which is great for esadoras, and then you want a generator that works well, spending your maximum resource is great because we're powering through our mana with ball lightnings to gain critical strike chance, as we still gain a lot from that as we're not near 100% with how this is set up. That then will bring you together a lovely amount of damage and, of course, importantly, toughness, coupled with the infinite healing barrier generation. You're just going to feel like an immortal speed billion damage hitting god. For how to play it, nothing's changed from the entry level version. You just hold down ball lightning, press unstable currents on cooldown, press lightning spear on cooldown, and enjoy yourself teleporting forward. And again, just look at that teleport cooldown or lack thereof. It really is ridiculous. You never press 4 and 5, your chain lightning, your charged bolts, you just constantly hold ball lightning and teleport through and have a grand old time. It could not be more straightforward, and honestly, a lot lot of the time that's quite fun, better than those piano keyboard mashing builds that we've had to play in the past on this class. It's nice, relaxing power. For your divine gifts, in your lovely purified, you want 20% more armor, which then leaves hellfire to be corrupted. You want 20% increased resistance, which then leaves anguish to be corrupted. You want fortify 1% of your max life a second, which then leaves shadows to be corrupted, though you can swap these round if you prefer, as we are so hard to kill, the fortify isn't as needed anymore, but this is ideal. And then you want the barrier when injured. This is the least important, as you're obviously never going to get injured really, but also refilling a potion doesn't matter either, so this one you can really choose to have either way round, and you're not going to miss out. For your mercenaries, you want Subo as your main, specifically just for opening fire, for that 25% multiple increased crit chance. I don't know what word I just said, but hey, the point still stands, and the rest as following. Then we're here to run in with some Bastion, just for some survivability, if for some reason you ever need it, though truly you can put anything you want here, it's just not going to make that much of a difference. For your tempering, you want Crackling Energy damage on your gloves, you want a chance for Crackling Energy to zap additional targets on your offhand. On your boots, movement speed is fine, but truly there isn't really anything impactful here, so you can choose whatever it is you would like. If you're using a normal ring, you want more Crackling Energy damage, and if you're using a normal helmet, again, nothing here is critical, choose literally anything that you would like. When it comes to what to ideally hit for that final bit of masterworking quality, anywhere there is ranks to skills, you want to hit ranks to skills. After that, cooldown reduction, critical strike chance, critical strike damage, anything that ups the amount of power that you're putting down. Crackling energy damage on your esadoras is obviously really nice, and I honestly should have kept rerolling that till I got it, but hey-oh, it was one of my first items that dropped for the season. And then, of course, ranks to core skills on your orsivane, and so on and so forth. Ranks to glass cannon on your raiment. If it says ranks, you want to just keep rerolling until you hit it, and you will be doing really well. And then specifically for the offhand, if you can hit the Crackling Energy chance, you're going to be having a great time there too. Sanctification wise, obviously it's ultra giga random, so I'm not going to be here giving you a specific best one for every item, because the chances of you hitting it are minuscule, and I doubt you're going to go out there and farm, let's say, 27 esadoras until you hit the perfect sanctification on top of the perfect esadoras. The bottom line guideline though is anything that can add skill ranks is going to be really good for you, such as turning a skill rank affix into a greater affix, such as adding the entirety of Harlequin Crest at 20% damage reduction plus 4 ranks to all skills to an item, which yes can happen, even on Harlequin Crest, so you double up. That's always going to be good. Other than that, just hope for the best. Hopefully you get something that adds damage to you, and be careful when it comes to doing it to legendaries, because you can replace an affix, and if you replace ranks to ball lightning or any like cooldown reduction, you're going to feel pretty bad. And obviously I don't have perfect aspects yet, I'm still missing the final rank, and I don't want to lock it out of being edited yet. But on your uniques and mythic uniques, you're pretty good to just go for it. I got an alright one here for the when I cast a skill heal for life, because it at least works with temerity. Not amazing though. The life on hit on the Azurite was of course a fantastic hit, but everything else I've got, and even on my mythic uniques, certainly nothing to write home about. In any case, though, yeah, that's what you're kind of looking for. Paragon, then, to see us off, and as usual, follow me point for point. And as usual, the general sentiment that if you have more points than I do, well, put them in all of the extra magic nodes around the place that I don't have the spare points to grab yet. That's where you fill them out. But the actual core of what you need is the following. Up and left here to get the initial resilience, then right and through Elementalist to get to the glyph slot, where we will slot and activate charged, grabbing the little bit of extra intelligence we need to do so alongside elemental balance. Then up through studied into the next board, which is going to be your static surge. Then we head up to this intelligence, we can continue on to the glyph, where we slot and activate tactician and continue up for electro. Then we spike off from this intelligence to grab static surge itself, then continue through blessing until we get to the next board. The next board being your ceaseless conduit. Glyph in the bottom left like this, and we can head down to it where we slot and activate destruction, grab galvanic catalyst, grab devastate, and then grab every single bit of dexterity in range to amp it up as much as possible. I don't have the spare points to do that yet, but that is ideally what you want to be doing. Then we head up and round through conduit to then grab the ceaseless conduit node itself before getting suffused resilience as well. Then we go up to the next gate, and therefore the next board, Enchantment Master in the bottom right, and we go up, grab Blessing, grab Enchantment Master, and then head left at this Intelligence Fork to get Ruinous, before continuing on to the Glyph, where we slot and activate Exploit. Grab Tactical, then grab Elemental Balance, and return down here to get to the next gate, where lastly we find Frigid Fate. We then want to go over here, down to Guarded. All this toughness is very, very helpful. Up and round to Frigid Fate, and then through weakness to the Glyph slot, where we slot and activate Unleash, and then grab Elemental Favor too. Now this, of course, is an extension and complete version of the initial Torment 1 board. Technically, if I could be bothered completely restarting it, we could do this about 5 Paragon points more efficiently, but look, it's really not the end of the world. This is enough to have everything you could need. Any power gains from the rest of the Paragon tree at this point are going to be incredibly minor, but look, these are your 5 legendary nodes you need to hit, these are your 5 glyphs you need to hit, and then after that, grab all of the rare nodes that are available, anything that increases your toughness, or anything that increases your damage, and then do the same with magic nodes after that. It's a very straightforward principle to follow, and will see you well. And that really is that then, Sorcerer's Peak of the season. It can only really get better with better base gear, with better lucky sanctification, and, you know, really perfecting everything, but in the general sense, we are here at Crackling Energy, and it is wondrous. Let me know if you'd like to see more options, side grades, or some of our other builds that have essentially as much potential, though maybe not quite, though of course it is very Season of the Paladin, and I totally get it if there's not many sorcerers around, but hey, I at least wanted to cover what we can do as a minimum in Season 11. I am really looking forward to the expansion and the expanded skill trees. The little preview we got of Sorcerer's 1 is amazing, but in any case, I digress. I'll be with you guys for many, many seasons to come yet. For now then, like if you enjoyed this, subscribe and hit the bell for more. Consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below, and until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.